Hello. I'm here today to talk about Workato. Um, uh, Hopefully, at the end of this, you'll understand what Workato is, the problem it solves, and why it's so powerful, why we're really excited about it. So let's get into it. Uh, Customers typically want to integrate a bunch of different services into Totoro, right? Um, they want to integrate e-commerce. They want to sell courses, or they want to sell seminar seats, or other items in Totoro, or they might have a HR system that tracks all of the HR records, all their staff records as a master list, and they want Totoro to just basically accept those changes from that master list. And not have to manually come into Totoro every single time to update those records. Um, we want to support those integrations, of course. And one of the ways that we want to do that is with Workato. Um, but let's have a look at the options for enabling those integrations. So one of those ways that we can enable integrations is offer API endpoints. Um, Development costs for those are pretty high, especially in legacy areas. To really understand those legacy areas and build those APIs, it can take quite a lot of time. And to get those APIs out the door in a release, get the site upgraded, and then for those APIs to be actually used in an integration, there's a high amount of time there, right? And the ease of use is pretty low. It can be hard to know how to use an API even as a software developer or somebody who's technically minded. But for people who don't necessarily have a lot of technical knowledge, especially around APIs, they may find it really difficult to use one. So the easy use is pretty low. With a custom integration, building something custom for enabling integrations, the development cost is very similar. It's very high. You've got to understand, how to do something in Totoro the right way. You've got to understand how that other system works and set up all of the APIs to that other system. So it's pretty high. And we've got the same problem of time to deliver for custom integrations as well. If we build them, they take time. And the easy use is pretty good though. Usually there's an interface and you just set some values and away you go. But yeah, it's not necessarily the best experience. And then we've got middleware. And spoiler alert, that's Workato. The development costs pretty low. So to develop an integration in Workato is pretty easy because it knows about what it can do and it enables you to just select what you want to happen in different services in normal plain English with a nice UI. So the development costs are pretty low, and you can get up to speed really quickly with it. And the time to deliver is pretty low. We can release Workato updates on a different schedule to Totoro itself. So as soon as you've got the APIs, you can use them. And likewise with other services, right? So if another service adds a new capability, you can just utilize that straight away as soon as they've added it to Workato, instead of having to wait for Totoro to add in a particular piece of functionality that you needed. You don't have to wait for that. You can just add it in Workato. And then ease of use, again, pretty high. That's kind of what I was talking about before. You can come into this UI and edit your recipes and utilize it however you want. Um, but what is middleware? As I said, it's Workato, but what actually is it doing technically? Like what problem is it solving? So to answer that, let's have a look at what integrations might look like without middleware. So one of them is a custom plugin. We might make custom plugins to handle these integrations. We've got a few already in Totoro, and I'm sure there's some other integrations out there that are doing it this way. It can be pretty powerful. So you can by doing this have access to all of the Totoro code essentially by writing your integration in PHP as a plugin on Totara, you have access to basically anything you can do in Totara. Um, you still have to understand the system you want to integrate with, their APIs, and anything that may be a bit weird with their integration. And you also have this custom code now that you have to maintain going forward. And because it's a plugin, you have to you've got this divergence from like core code. So whenever you upgrade, this could cause issues when you upgrade, and you have to resolve those as and when. So it's not the best and not most scalable going forward. And another way we could do it is we could have an external integration. So we might have a service that we've written externally that knows about Totoro and tries to communicate through the API layer, and also does the same on the system that we're trying to integrate with, and sort of glues those two together. Now, one of the problems with this is we've still got to maintain that code, right? If somebody made some changes in an API, let's hope they don't, but let's say they do, we have to update our integration. So there's an ongoing maintenance cost to these. And they could be pretty long to make them, because you still need a developer or somebody technical to come in and make these integrations and maintain them going forward. So, where does middleware come in? Well, it kind of replaces that external integration, because middleware is an external integration system, but effectively it's doing the knowing about the other services, and doing the linking up for us and the processing for us. So it's handling a lot of that work. Um, so if we looked at what that looks like for Workato, um, Workato has this terminology of connectors, and connectors is just like, what can the system do? So what can Totoro do? What can HR do? What can the HR system do? And it knows what they can do, and it uses that to sort of like link those two together, right? So let's uh, let's have a look at what that looks like in the actual UI that they provide, in a bit of a demo. So I'm going to try and share my screen, uh, see if I can get this right. Okie dokie. So let's have a look at Workato. Welcome to Workato. This is the Workato interface. Um, I'm going to take you through creating a pretty simple recipe, and I'll describe what I'm doing as I go along. So there's these projects that we can go into. I'm going to go into my space, and then I'm going to create a new recipe. So what is a recipe? If you're technical, they're scripts. If you're not, they're just a list of things that you want to happen when something else happens. So a recipe is like a list of instructions, I guess, is the analogy they're going for. So I'm going to give a name, Workato talk, um, and I can choose a starting point. So I could run it on a schedule, so it happens every so often. I could do a bunch of other things like a Slack bot command even, but this one's going to be the primary one we'll focus on today, which is triggering from an app. And what that means is I can trigger it from an external system. So I might have like somebody purchases something in Shopify. I might want some things to happen, like create a user for that person or enroll them on a course. So let's start building with an app. Now I've got this is the recipe interface, and if we have a look on the right hand side, we can see all of the apps we can integrate with. There's quite a few here, and some of them are HR platforms, some of them are e-commerce platforms. We've got some like CRMs here, GitHub, Gmail. So we've got some calendars. All sorts of integrations are possible here, and because we've told Workato what Totara can do, any of these integrations here are possible. So we could definitely create an integration with any of these systems that we're seeing here. And we've got sort of community ones here as well. And there's like 46 more even. So there's a long list. of possible systems we can integrate with. So it really expands sort of the horizons of what we can do in terms of integrations. But let's create a really simple app, sorry, recipe. So I'm going to choose the Totara connector. So I'm going to do something with Totara. Um, I'm currently selecting a trigger. Now, the trigger is essentially saying, when do I want this recipe to run? So I might say, I want this recipe to run whenever I have a new or updated course. So if I update a course in Totara, I want this recipe to run. So if we do that, now I've got some connections here. They're just basically detailing how to connect to my site. So I'm going to use my connection to my local site, and that's that. I can do anything I can do via the API essentially, but through this nice UI. So I could filter by tags. I could sort the courses. Um, but what I want to do right now is just retrieve the ID, full name, short name, and summary. So whenever it finds a course, it's going to get those values for me. And what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to run an action, which is essentially what the recipe actually does. So I've got a few things that I could do here. I could add an if statement. So I could say, if this course is this particular name or has this particular ID, do this thing. But I'm just going to go super simple. And I'm going to just run an action. And I'm going to use a one provided by Workato called the logger. All it's going to do is have a log. It's just going to print out some information. So I'm going to go ID. And because we asked for those values, we can see in this left-hand sidebar, I can actually see those values. I can press them and they just appear in this output. So you might imagine that this could be pretty useful when you're writing an email or something. Um, so you could write emails with placeholders for the full name or the short name or the summary, that sort of integration. Uh, I'll just fill this out. Summary. Okay, and then I'm going to save this, and I'm going to test it. We'll see what goes on. But before I do that, let's describe what it does. So whenever a course is added or updated in my Totoro site, uh, I should just get a message logged. That's it. It's a very simple recipe. So I'm going to test it, and it's gone to talk to my site, and it's asking my site, hey, have you got any courses that I haven't seen before? It's taking a little while, but it couldn't find a trigger event because I haven't got any courses. So let's go and add a course. I'm going to create a new course in my site. I'm going to call it cool course. Cool course. And I'm going to write a summary. My summary is going to be my cool course in Workato. And then I'm going to save this. Save and return. So now if I press check now, I should get a course. I did. So Workato went and asked my site, hey, have you got any courses that I haven't seen? And it came back and said, yes, I have one. And we can see that it found my cool course. And if I have a look at the log, it's replaced those values with the values from my Totoro site. So you can see my cool courses in Workato is the summary. Um, this is a very basic example, but maybe we'll go through one of our example recipes. So we actually have a few example recipes that we've built for you. So if you do want access to any of those, do reach out. We have an Azure one for HR integration, and we also have a Shopify integration, example integration. And these are really to give you a sort of a baseline of how you might make these integrations, and you can expand on them and tweak them to your use case. So yeah, please do reach out if you want any of those. But anyway, This is the Shopify example integration that I've set up for my local site. So I can show you how that works. And if I go to, actually, we can just have a look from here. So this one as well triggers whenever a course is added or updated in Totara. It's doing something to track if it's seen courses before, or if it's added courses to Shopify already. But we don't need to worry about what this is doing. We can worry about that if you want to use this recipe. We can give you a bit more of a summary. But essentially, it's just checking, hey, have I seen this course before? And if it hasn't, then it will create a product in Shopify. And that product gets created with a price from a custom field. Um, it's going to insert the summary as the body for the product, and it's also going to set the title as the full name of the course. And then it adds it to that table. But again, we don't need to worry about the table. And then it's going to stop. So if I test this, and I'll just show you my Shopify store because I don't know if I've already done that. So this is my Shopify store. I've just refreshed it. There's no products. But if I press test recipe, it's going to go away to my Totoro site, ask for any courses. It's going to find one because that the one we just made. It's going to error here, oddly. Because this step just errors whenever it can't find one, but that's okay because we have been watching for that error and are handling it. And instead, we created a product, sorry, in Shopify with that course. So if we go to Shopify now, refresh, we see the cool course, and if we click on it, we can see my cool course in Workato. But there's no price. And I said that they would set the price. So the reason for that is because I haven't actually given it a price. So if we go into the course and I go down to custom fields, I've got this price value. And if I set this to 100, it's a really expensive course, then I'm going to save. This cool course is now priced at 100. Now, if I go to Shopify, it's still 0 because I haven't run the recipe. Now, I don't have to run this recipe every single time in production. I would press the start recipe button and it would do it automatically. Every 5 minutes, it would look for courses and run. But for demo purposes, I'm running it with this test recipe button. But you won't have to do that normally. So if I press test recipe, because we're using the new or updated trigger, it will find that course that I just updated. And we've got a little bit of handling that's a little bit different. So if we have a look, so it triggered and found that course, my cool course. It monitored, it looked up to see if it's seen that course before. It found that it did, and it saved the product ID with the course. So instead of creating a new product, we're going to update that product. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we will see that the core course is now $100. And it is. So yeah, this is still pretty simple. Um, and I say that like this is simple. It would be difficult to get to this place with writing custom code, right? That this would have taken quite a while. But with Workato, we were able to achieve this incredibly quickly, way quicker than we would have been able to do with normal custom code. So just keep that in mind. And also uh like this is just one step there. This was only one part of that example integration. So if we go to that Workato example integration, um, we can actually also see that we have another recipe in here that when there's a new order in Shopify, we actually see if a user exists, and if it doesn't, we create that user and then enroll the user in all the courses that we had in their order. And if they did already exist, then we just enroll them in the course. So we have a full life cycle here, but there's also other things you could do if you spend a bit more time and tweaked it. But there's simple examples ready to go. But hopefully that gives you a bit of a better picture of what Workato is, and how you might use it. And yeah, I hope that's been helpful. But please do reach out if you do want access to any of those example recipes, or if you just want a bit more of an in-depth demo of Workato and its feature set. There's all sorts, like being able to track the usage of your recipes and how they're working, and also monitoring for errors and just general things that you would need for an integration. But hopefully, yeah, this gave you a good picture. Thank you. Have a good day.